Did you know that you can make money from cleaning? Yes, you can. And today's guest, Holly Oldham, is here to tell us exactly how. Through her program, Earn While You Burn, a program that teaches you everything you need to know about starting your own cleaning business. Holly Oldham is a two-time published book author, poetic comedian, and solopreneur behind PRMF Luxury Cleaning, a successful high-end cleaning service. She's also an advocate for domestic violence, parental alienation, mental health awareness, and she is a daily volunteer shoreline custodian. Holly has so much energy, so I can't wait to introduce you to her. Let's get into this episode. Welcome to the Employee to Boss podcast, a podcast for everyone with an entrepreneurial spirit. Every week, I am joined by successful guests in all different industries and stages of business who will share what their experience was like transitioning from employee to boss. Expect action steps, inspiration, and hot topics. This is a resource for you if you're wanting to start a business, go all in on your side hustle, get to the next level in your thriving business, or just hear what it's like taking the leap to becoming your own boss. I'm your host, Haley Hayhurst, the owner of Espresso Podcast Production, a full-service podcast production agency specializing in editing, marketing, and strategy. Let's dive into today's topic. Hey, Holly, thank you so much for joining me on the Employee to Boss podcast. I am so excited to be talking with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, so we met one time before and just had a very electric conversation. I love your energy, love the way that you dress, and I feel like anyone who's watching on video on YouTube will really understand more about Holly by just seeing just like her space and how she dresses and presents herself. So I am really excited to dive into this very fun conversation with you.
Great.
So how about let's start off with you telling us who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Holly Oldham, not Holly Newham. And I really like to make people smile. And I found that having a healthy environment in your home or even in your office, it really starts there. So you can either, whether you go to work or you work from home, I'm in my living room now. And I find that if I have things in my home that don't make me feel good for one reason or another, I let them go. And, we as people become attached to things, unfortunately, and not necessarily people, although sometimes being attached to people happens too, right? So once you learn to have those boundaries of, wait a second, this really doesn't mean, this, how does it feel? I don't even, sometimes you don't even need to pick up the object that's there, to find out if it's really something that you want to have in your space. And if not, then get rid of it. Really.
I need to do that with my apartment for sure. I did my laundry for probably an hour this morning, and then I opened my dryer and there was more laundry in there, and I was like, how do I have this many clothes? I was like, ah. So perfect timing on this conversation, honestly. So Holly, tell us about your journey from employee to boss. What did you used to do, and how did you get started with what you do now?
Well, back in my 30s, I owned a traditional cleaning service for residential and commercial clients. I had over 300 clients and built it in 5 years. I was in 3 different counties. I had a wonderful round the clock team. My children were very young at the time. Looking back, I don't know how I did all of that. I made I had a bad business partner. We didn't see eye to eye on things. And I ended up moving forward from that first cleaning business after I found out that I was no longer the owner of it.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, so I've learned a lot of lessons in business. Fast forward, I post divorce, I got divorced August of 2020 from my 19-year marriage. And I knew that I needed to be around people that valued money, valued time, valued their own businesses. So I decided to start a luxury solo cleaning business for many, many reasons. Because one of the questions that you can ask when you're hiring a service, just so you know, is the main key question is not what do you do, right? The question that you ask you're hiring the person, which I highly recommend you hiring an individual because you'll get much more detailed attention. But the question that you ask is, what won't you do? And they'll let you know right from the very beginning, like, I'm not ironing. Well, okay. Well, that was one of my things that I needed to have done. Next, you could just toss that person, to the side and, don't spend your time trying to convince the person that you're trying to hire. Well, I'd like you to do ironing because it's already starting with a bad relationship. So the best interview question that you can ask your solopreneur cleaning service owner, which will provide you the best service compared to a larger business, is what won't you do?
I love that. I love that. That's a great, simple question to ask. And so, I remember during our first conversation how you said more about what you do is, a lot of personal development and a lot of personal growth for yourself. And I remember you telling me the story of how you wanted to, get stronger arms. So you started offering like hand cleaning floors for your clients.
Yes, and it wasn't like offering. That's what it was. I had 4 children, and one of the things that women we get this like little waddle for one flipping reason or another, right? And I was post-divorce and I was, starting back into the dating world. I hadn't dated since I was 19. I went from one marriage to the next marriage, and there was just no dating in my 20s or even earlier. I married my best friend first and it didn't work out for whatever reason. I married my second husband and ended up spending 11 years at home raising 4 children. At one point, 3 under 5. So it was,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was, like I said, looking back, I'm not exactly sure how I did it and ran the business. And here's the thing. I didn't do it successfully. I did not do it successfully because the money that I was making in the business wasn't much at all. It wasn't a very good business plan. I did it out of desperation. And the second the solopreneur cleaning business that I do now, that I do part-time and earn more than full-time pay than a lot of people in the industry. Okay.
Mhm.
I really wanted to set myself apart and say, I'm offering luxury services. What is one thing, just like you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, what is it that you were talking about doing? Laundry. Nobody likes to do laundry. Well, guess what? I love to do laundry. And
Mhm.
at one point, I was doing at least 75 loads of laundry a week because I was getting paid for it. I'm not
That would
doing
make
it.
me feel different about laundry
That's
too.
that's what I'm saying, which is why I wanted to start a program called Earn While You Burn, right?
Mm,
Because if you look at the cleaning industry as somebody's paying you to exercise, which is how I look at it as, okay? Like I pick up more poopy and clean up more poopy than I really feel like I should in some places because doggies aren't potty trained or whatever,
yeah.
However, I'm getting paid to do it. It's not like I'm doing it complimentary, right? However, I do love my volunteer work and I do daily beach cleaning since September of 2020 every day for 4 years.
Tell us more about Prim and Fucking Proper, which is your Facebook group and kind of just like your brand of how you live your life. Tell us more about what that is.
Well, I learned what a boundary was later on in life. And if you're listening, it's one of the best things that you can learn to build is a boundary in your life. The sooner, the better, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, parents, grandparents, children who have children of their own and grandparents are coming unwantedly. I mean, these boundaries are really important. And I'm only talking from experience. I had, I had to develop a boundary because I also wanted to teach my children how to do it. And I'd like to
Yeah.
think that, look, again, looking back to my 30s, I'm not exactly sure how I did all the things that I did, and I didn't do it well. I could have done it better. However, I was doing what I needed to do to make it through the certain situation, whether it was finances, whether it was the toxic marriage or the toxic environment or whatever it is. As soon as I put up those boundaries, there are pluses and minuses to those boundaries, right? I mean, you put a boundary up with your child, you put a boundary up with your spouse, and you put a boundary up with your client, they're going to know who they're dealing with right from the beginning. Right. So it's important in business to say, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I can do. This is how I can help you and your family, or how I can help add value to your business, and cleaning up your space, because the less chaotic your home is, the less chaotic your brain is. And that thing is crazy and chaotic enough as it is. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I don't do this? Do I do this? All the things the conversations that you have back and forth. And I've simplified it into earn while you burn. Should you decide to, like, I'm an empty nester now, and my body has been programmed and conditioned to take care of others and help others, guide others. And the main person that I'm supposed to help is myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so once I learned to help myself by putting these healthy boundaries up, it's a ripple effect with your children. They don't recognize it right away. And again, now I have 4 adult children now. I'm a grandmother. And as a parent, it's still our responsibility to guide these humans, even past adults, by example, right? Because, telling your child, you really shouldn't do that. Guess what? They're going to do it anyways, right? And I can't, for example, with my children's father, like, I couldn't be the example by staying in a toxic relationship by saying, well, don't date this kind of person. Don't date that person. Don't let that person say this. Don't let that person say that, when that was being done to me. So
Right.
you put up these healthy boundaries, and you learn who is going to be there for you. You learn who your real friends are. You learn who people you want to do business with and people you don't want to do business with. I mean, the more you personally develop, the more your business develops too, naturally.
Yeah.
Just naturally. And I've learned in life that, when I first started the business, I was a bit anxious. And as an entrepreneur, that you have these up and down moments that people who aren't entrepreneurs don't know. So
Yes.
wouldn't you rather start a business knowing someone has already walked the path that you've already done, versus asking people, well, what do you think if I should start a cleaning business? What do you want to start a cleaning business for? People question you, and then it makes you question yourself. So if you desire to be a part of the janitorial industry and be paid well to exercise as you age, I'm going to be 49 this year. I took care of my children. What am I supposed to do with my life other than live it? So because I've owned this luxury cleaning service, I've been able to take myself on a trip to Alaska, cruise to Alaska I celebrate my half birthday every year.
I love that.
Well, my birthday's December 30th, right? So it's at the end of the year. I used to hate it because when I was in school, we were always on Christmas break, and then none of my friends could ever come to my flipping parties, right? So when I guess, I don't know, I was around the age of 10, I was like, well, this is bullshit. So I'm going to celebrate my half birthday. So I've been celebrating my half birthday for as long as I can remember. And I took myself to Alaska and Canada this June. The trip's already paid for. And I just purchased another cruise to Mexico, Honduras, and the Bahamas for my 49th birthday in January, right? From this part-time cleaning service.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
I think I know what I'm doing. Whether you think I know what I'm doing or not doesn't bother me. I know what it is I'm doing. I know the families that I care for, that appreciate me, that appreciate the details in when it comes to home care. They know when I come to their home, I'm loving their home as if it was my own. Now, I don't live in $4.2 million homes like I take care of. All right. But looking around, it kind of looks like I do, because I take care of it. I love home care. I love creating space, not only for myself, but for my clients, so it can set them up to be successful. They're either entrepreneurs or executives, and they value time as much as they value their money. So it's an even exchange for that type of clientele. And so if you're going into, a neighborhood that doesn't necessarily have that type of income, you can't discredit them, because some people may not have the luxury home, but they desire the luxury care.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Totally.
the folding the toilet paper a certain way, making sure that the bathrooms are all stocked with the paper products, which I don't necessarily agree with all paper products because I'm an environmentalist, okay? However, I'm not going to tell people what they can and cannot do with their own homes. So I care for their home as they like it to be cared for, not the way that I want to care for it. However, I do mix things together to make suggestions. And if there are weeds that need pulling in the patio, I'm going to pick them up whether they tell me to do it or not. However, I am going to make sure to tell them that that's what I did, so they know
Mm-hmm.
when they're paying me for 1 month in advance, the whole summer in advance, they know that I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the job that I say that I'm going to do because they trust me. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trust is a big part of any business, honestly. Any online business, in-person business.
Yeah.
Having your clients trust you is big. And I'm just remembering this now. The very first coach that I ever worked with, she was a mindset coach. She was amazing. Her name is Kira Patrick. She was starting her mindset coaching business alongside, she was also a cleaner. So that was her main business. And then she did mindset coaching on the side as she was growing that. And I remember she was saying, like, the cleaning business is so entrepreneurial. You have to be so self-motivated, but there's such a big payoff for if you do it well and build that trust with your clients. And that was like the basis of her whole business, that she was growing. So, that's great. It's great. I love that.
Well, let me ask you a question. So, how would you feel if someone, whether you work from home or you're out, but let's just say you go out for the day and you hired me, okay, to come in and organize the pantry, the kitchen, cabinets, get all the Tupperwares together. While I'm
Mhm.
doing that, I have a load of laundry going because I know how to multitask,
Yeah.
right? And I'm saging and setting intention in your home to make it comfortable, not just for me, because energy exchange is real. If you're inviting someone in that's toxic into your home, you can't expect to have. So let's just put it this way. If you're inviting chaos into your home, you can't expect to have peace.
That's very true.
Oh,
That's very true.
right. So when you're hiring someone to help you, whether you're looking to do this as a business or you're just looking for insight of how to work with someone who can help you, and you don't have to worry about them in one way or another. Make sure they're insured. Make sure they come with references. What's the experience? And if you say that you've worked with Holly Oldham, not Holly Newham, that gives you clout because of
Yes.
the name that I've made for myself in the industry. If you've learned under my tutelage, right? I mean, you're going to have advantages over not having had the instruction from someone who's made it in an industry where you're look, I'm also a writer on the side, right?
Yeah.
So when I tell people I'm a writer, people look at me different than when I tell them that I'm in the janitorial industry. It is
Mm.
what it is. However, I still hold my head up high because their opinion of me is not going to stop me from running my business. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's important as we age as individuals, whether you're male or female, that we're financially independent. When you're starting to date, as I'm starting to dip my toe back into the dating pool and being a part of the pride community, and I have to practice this dating thing all over again, right? After
Hmm.
being married for so many years to men. And
Yeah.
even though when I was a little girl, I'd had relationship with girls, I took these vows, and I lived a life for 30 years that I really wasn't satisfied with. So as
Hmm.
I've aged, I've learned so much more about me to be unapologetic. And the side effect, do you know what the side effect of living unapologetically is?
No, tell me.
The truth just falls out of my mouth.
Mm,
And
I love that.
well, it comes with its, its pluses and minuses, dear, right? Because when people ask me, well, Holly, what is your opinion? I've learned to say, are you sure you want me to give it to you?
That's funny.
Like, are you sure you want to hear what it is I have to say? Because I'm not going to tell you what it is that you want to hear. I'm the type of person that's going to tell you what you need to hear. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And it's important that when you are working with coaches, you're open to their methods of teaching, right? If you're closed-minded, you're not going to learn anything. If you're taking a course, like if you take my course and you're expecting me to tell you, to coddle you, and oh, everything's going to be okay. I'm going to tell you that, but I'm also going to get a fire underneath your ass, just like you say, to be self-motivated. Like you have to get out there and pay these flipping bills. You don't have anybody else out here paying it. So if you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to prep your car, to make sure everything is okay, to be at a job by 8 o'clock, you have to drive an hour to get there, because these are some of the things that I do.
Hmm.
But guess what? There's all a payoff for it. There's life after divorce. There's life after toxic relationships. There's life after parental alienation. I talk about that too. I experienced that as a mother. I actually still experience that. However, those are experiences that I've learned from, and it's taking me clarity and
Yes.
and lots of practice and healing to be able to say, Haley, that I'm grateful for those experiences.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
like I love the janitorial industry. I believe in the work that I do. I know that I can teach you, and I've created a package for you. And
Mm,
the price is going to be going up, because why? Because I'm in it to make money. Like, yeah, I want to help you out, right? But I'm
yes,
giving you an introductory offer. And if you want, I could even do some private coaching on the side for you to really set you up for success for the upcoming year, because you deserve this opportunity.
absolutely. And you charge because you have the expertise. You're saving people time in learning everything that you had to learn. And so, absolutely, I think that's why we charge for all of our services. Like what we offer is valuable.
That's
But
right.
I want to talk about one thing that really inspires you to keep going. And I know this is something that you talk about a lot is financial independence for women. And this is probably a newer topic over the past couple decades that is becoming more and more talked about as we grow as women, right? Becoming financially independent, not depending on a man or a family or whatever it is to live because as you know the story you're about to tell and the story of many many women, things can go left and then you might be stuck in a relationship because of money, and that is truly like one of the worst situations, and I feel horrible for all the women stuck in those situations. So can you tell us more about your story of becoming financially independent and how just some encouraging words for women?
Well, look, a couple things. Don't believe everything you think. Right. Right. Don't believe everything that you think, because I've learned that 95% of your mind is your subconscious mind, and only 5% is conscious. Okay. So every day, all of us, if we have a full brain, okay, we're in constant battle with ourselves for one reason or another. So I I invite you to do mirror work.
Mm,
Do mirror work. And if you can't say, I love you in the mirror without crying, that means you need to do it more,
mm,
right? I mean, so much do we desire as humans to be loved. And now my children tell me they love me, right? I don't have a significant other that tells me that they love me. I need to remind myself that I love myself because, you love yourself by what you give your body. Now, I had to break up with Ben and Jerry because it was a completely toxic relationship, okay? Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream is my favorite,
Yeah.
right? So I had to break up with Ben and Jerry, and I decided to start dating Mike's Hot Honey with peanut butter and a soft taco, okay? I give my body what it needs and it succeeds. I fill my body with protein and vegetables and vitamins. I prefer to drink my vitamins, so I mix it all in my protein shakes. And I set myself up for success for meal prep. Do these products that you need to put into your body, going to the grocery store, do they cost more than the other stuff? Yes. But here's the thing. You're either going to pay now for your health or you're going to pay later for it. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so
Definitely.
investing in yourself, giving your body what it needs versus the Ben and Jerry's. Now, look, I indulge because I'm here to live my life, the best life that I possibly can. However, it's balance. I'm in after having 4 children by C-section, hysterectomy in my mid 30s, inguinal hernias because I'm carrying my kids too long and because they're so heavy. My body has been through all kinds of things. However, at almost 49 years old, I'm in the best physical shape of my life. And it's because I'm paid to exercise. I'm paid well enough that I include my massage therapy and my business coaching in my fees. And all of this can be tax deductible because of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you're going out in your, let's just say you're going out to, you have an opportunity to go out to lunch, right? You go and treat yourself for lunch or breakfast. I love to treat myself to breakfast. It's actually more affordable than dinner most times, right? I love treating myself to breakfast. I'd much rather clean than cook, okay? By going to the healthier restaurant choice versus going to, let's say, McDonald's and getting the quick fix of the McGriddle with sausage and cheese with no egg, because that's the way that I prefer to have it, right? But if you go to this other place, not only is it a tax write-off for your business, but you're also investing in your future, investing in your day. Because if you give yourself the McDonald's at the beginning of the day, how do you think that that's setting you up for success? It's not. It's not going to nourish your body. It's not going to give your body the vitamins and nutrients that it needs. Now, it's there
Mm-hmm.
for you. However, it's like everything. It's a balance, Haley, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the financial independence piece, what was your first step to becoming financially independent?
The choice to become financially independent.
Yeah.
You have to have the right mindset. Like you were talking about earlier, there's mindset coaches out there. There's a coach out there for everything, okay?
Mhm.
However, just like the one that you referred, people are more likely to go to your mindset referral versus picking somebody out of the
Totally.
internet,
Yeah.
right? Because it's you're adding value. It's a referral. So that's how I've built my business, by referral base. You stand in front of rooms and you pretend that nobody's there. You practice in the mirror, over and over and over again. These reels that I put up or these videos that I do previous, like that aren't live, right? So the pre-recorded. I've probably done 15 or 20 videos before I actually post one, right? It's actually the message that I want to say. Like you have to edit because of the sound issues, or, somebody made a screw up or something. You always have to go back and edit. So when you're building the financial independence lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle, dear, there's etiquette. So in my program, I teach you about etiquette. Like you can't go with your hair to a business meeting that's not done properly or to other people's liking. Now, not everybody's going to like my hair. However, it's done to the way I like it. So people are just going to either accept it or they don't accept it. But I highly recommend that when you go to these networking events, you show up different from everybody else, whether it's wearing a pin or a bright pink flipping jacket. You'll want to be remembered. They may not remember your name, but they're going to remember your energy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So the
Absolutely.
choice of becoming financially independent is first. And then you must practice the mirror work. And another thing is, if you're going to have a business space, like I have a business space, my desk, right? You want it to be in an environment that's peaceful so you can focus. For example, I'm staring at a beautiful tree right now on the other side of my computer. Behind me, I see beauty, and I in front of me, I see beauty. I see you. I see women working together to accomplish the greater goal of financial independence. Like you were saying, staying in a relationship because you financially have to sucks. Like, I always had my own money. Growing up, I always had my own money. I started my first job at 14. I babysat a lot. And of course now, and then I had 4 children, but anyways, but I started at my first job at 14 years old, and I used to push grocery carts at Publix, at the grocery store down here. And people would say, "Oh, you're a cute little girl pushing, whatever." And they told you not to take tips, right? One of the things is you're not supposed to tip the baggers, right? At the time, I was making $3.65 an hour, Haley.
Wow.
$3.65 an
Wow.
hour, right? So then when I got my first raise, ready? I looked at my check, because it was paper form back then. And I went to my manager at the time, who may have been in his 30s. I'm 14 years old. He was in his 30s. I looked at him and showed him the piece of paper, and I said, "What is this?" "Oh, honey, you did such a good job. We gave you a raise." And I looked at it, and I go, "This is an insult. Can you take it back?" So at 14, saying that, I was going to be a sassy little bitch growing up, right? If I'm saying that kind of shit then. But somewhere along the line, I lost my oomph because I became somebody else for somebody else. So once I started living my truth post-divorce, right, my second divorce, I really decided to start owning who it was that I really desired to be. And one of them was financially independent. I had become dependent upon my significant other for everything, for confidence, for finances, for everything, and completely lost myself. Well, after I decided to leave that toxic relationship, not only because I didn't want my children to think that that's the way women should be treated, girls, my daughters, to be treated that way, or my son to treat another woman that way, or whatever path they chose to be with, right? I didn't want them to say, "Well, this is all mommy taught me."
Mm-hmm.
I did stay. Yeah, I stayed for too long. I stayed for the kids. You should leave for the kids, in my opinion. Don't stay for the children. Stay for yourself, for God's sakes, because that's going to give them the inspiration. So if they're ever in that situation, they'll do the same thing too.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. I think that that's really powerful and a good message. So tell us more about your new program before we wrap up. I'd love for you to go into detail of what it is, what it includes, and how you're going to help people with it.
Okay, well, basically, I'm going to be a fire starter underneath your tushy, okay? So it's a program that's online. There's video. I introduce each of the sections. I talk to you, one, about etiquette, right? I mean, you could see that some of the words in my mannerisms are a bit different than maybe some of the other cleaning people that you're used to. Like, I've often told myself that I'm the quintessential borrowed housewife, right? And all that involves, in the 1950s and 60s, actually at one point or another, women who stayed home, they were given an allowance by their spouses. I'm here to tell you that when I was a stay-at-home mom for 11 years, I didn't receive that. And so in the program, I really wanted to teach you about, one, personal development. It's hot. The more you personally develop, the more your business is going to develop naturally, right? So I just take you on a tour of where you should start. I also share the very contract that I share with my clients that I paid an attorney, but I wanted to make it easier for people because when you start the cleaning business, it's a wonderful industry. And going back for just a moment, I learn differently. So I'm very hands-on. So I cater to that type of client, right? So if you really desire handhold treatment, I talk to you in that way. Everything is itemized. So you're able to go back. Once you buy the program, you keep the program and you can listen to the video and you can review as many times as you need to. However, I also talk about scaling your business. So even if you're already owning a business, let's say you're already a solopreneur, you can learn to scale it, right? I hear oftentimes, well, I've been making the same amount for last 5 years. Why are you making the same amount for the last 5 years? Inflation,
Right.
everything is going up. You deserve to give yourself a raise. And here's the thing, the people who value you will see the value in you and they will give you the money. And if they don't, what's important, ladies, gentlemen, if you desire to go into the cleaning business, what's important is that you look at them. If let's say you say you increase your rates by 10%. I don't suggest you to do that, but I'm just saying, for all intents and purposes, you increase your rate 10%, and somebody says that no, they're not going to do it. I don't want you to think that it's a loss. You're actually opening up space for more people and the right people to come into your life, because not everybody on the way up in the elevator is supposed to go with you, right? You got to stop and let people off along the way, right? So when you approach it like that this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me, right? All of these changes, just little conjunctions, right? Not for me or not to me, it's for me. And I'm able to help guide you that way. Now you can listen to the whole program in one day. However, are you going to learn it all in one day? No, you're not. You're going to have to listen to it over again because it's an instruction manual and it's not long. You review it and you review it, just like when you were in school and you had to use index cards. Well, what does Holly mean when she says increase gradually? Take index cards, put it in there. What does it mean increase gradually? Okay, this way, when you go to have the conversation with your client, this is what you're going to tell them. And I also share conversations through emails that I've had with you to make it easier for you. Like I've made it so easy for you that investment is really a no-brainer.
I love that. Well, I'll put the link in the show notes so people can connect with you and learn more about that. But Holly, I've loved this conversation. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to touch on before we get into your action steps for the week?
Look, waste is good for your waist. Okay? So whether you decide to join or start a janitorial service, get out and do some community service, it will do more good, not just for the environment, but for your body. It's a full body workout and highly recommend you do that.
Amazing. I love that. So the way that I wrap up every episode is asking the guests to share 3 action steps for the audience to take this week to move forward in their life or their business. This way, we're actually challenging them with next steps rather than them just listening and turning the episode off. So, what are you challenging the audience with this week?
As soon as this podcast is over, I invite you to look in your car, your rear view mirror, wherever you're listening to this at. Go into the bathroom, you have a phone, turn the camera around and say, I love you to yourself, because one, you deserve it. You have to start with loving yourself first, because once you love yourself first, you're going to be able to love other people, love your family better, love your clients better, and appreciate them more, because your energy is going to transfer to them. So that's number 1. You have to say that you love yourself in the mirror. And even before you go to bed, just say, I love you, Haley.
I love it.
Right? So that's number 1. 2, I really invite you to get on your phone and set up reminders for yourself, not for what you have to do, but to remind you, I love you. And it could come up as a reminder throughout the day, and it's going to cause you to pause and intentional breathe, because your body is programmed and conditioned to breathe on its own, right? However, if you consciously breathe, it's completely different. Okay? And the third thing is to give yourself some flipping grace, woman. Give yourself some grace. Like, going through life isn't fucking easy. Nobody told us that it was going to be easy. Nobody said, oh, look, Holly, it's going to be so fucking easy. If it was, I probably wouldn't even want to do it, because I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy making money, and I love the work that I do. And the sooner that you have a healthier relationship with you, the sooner you're going to have a better relationship with your money and become financially independent, like we all should be. I mean, years ago, we were taught we were supposed to marry a rich man, and Cher is famous for saying
Yes.
on audience, I am a rich man. I'm the fucking rich man, Haley. All right. So all you single people out there, but you know what I'm saying? Like all of this is all personal development. You take the earn while you burn program. Not only is it going to give you inspiration, it's going to give you money to create the life that you really desire. Okay.
Very cool. I love it. I love those 3 steps. And Holly, where's the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, I love social media. I love connecting with y'all there. So I'm going to share my link, my personal Facebook link. I'm also going to share my personal is Holly Oldham, not Holly Newham. However, there are actually several different Holly Oldhams, believe it or not, in the world. Or my Prim and Fucking Proper Facebook group. It is a ladies only group, and it's a free group. I talk about the environment, healthy eating, and being kick-ass chicks.
Awesome. Well, everything will be in the show notes so people can find the right Holly Oldham. But thank you again, Holly, for joining me. I have loved this episode with you, and I love your energy and the message that you're sharing with the world.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Employee to Boss podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I hope that you implement the actionable steps from this week's experts so you can get started with your business today. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the Employee to Boss podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more than you could ever imagine. Remember, a little progress each day leads to big results. We come out with a new episode every Tuesday. To access our show notes, transcripts, and courses, please check out espressopodcastproduction.com.